The crypto world is absolutely crazy and on fire right now. So in this video, I want to give you an update of the important things that you need to know that is going on right now and the actions that you need to take if you are not prepared just yet. Now, before I walk you through today's content, what happened with FTX and the unfolding series of events, I want to really warn you at this point, if you haven't taken your cryptocurrency, your coins off any centralized exchanges and keep them in a wallet that you control the keys to, you should absolutely consider doing that as soon as possible. We don't know if other exchanges are potentially insolvent, and that could end up showing their insolvency in the coming days or the next week or two. And of course, if you have any coins on an exchange that becomes insolvent, as you've seen with FTX, you lose access to those coins and potentially you might lose everything that is on that exchange if they become insolvent, because there is no guarantee that even if they go into bankruptcy and there are liquidations of assets, that you get anything back whatsoever. So prevention is better than cure. Better be safe than sorry. And this includes all exchanges. It includes Binance, it includes Kraken, it includes crypto.com. No exchange is 100% safe, especially in this environment. So transfer your coins to a wallet that you own the private keys to. That way, if an exchange goes bust, it doesn't matter because you still have access to your coins. Even if they become less in value, it doesn't matter. You still have access to those same coins. Whereas if they're on an exchange that goes under, you lose your access to those coins. Of course, the best wallets to transfer to are simply a hardware wallet like a Ledger or a Trezor. But if you don't have one of those yet, you can order. I put the links in the description below. It'll obviously take some time to get those. In the meantime, you can also just consider putting it on a hot wallet, which is a wallet that you control the keys to, for example, like Trust Wallet or MetaMask or Engine Wallet or any of these kinds of wallets where you fully own the private keys. They're not as secure as a hardware wallet, but it still means they are secure and you have access to your keys versus having them on an exchange and being completely at the mercy of that exchange delivering on its promise to be able to let you access your keys. So please, that is very, very important, guys. As you can see over here on social media, everyone is just talking about taking your coins off exchanges. You can see there's mass fear here. And what this can cause is more of a bank run, exactly what we saw happen to FTX, where everything seemed fine until CZ tweeted. It created a massive fear in the markets. It led to a bank run, everyone just withdrawing huge amounts in a very short period of time, which then ultimately led to the exchange, because it was insolvent, not being able to meet those withdrawals, and then the whole thing collapses very quickly. Now we're seeing that on social media. Everyone is saying, get your coins off exchanges. Even here, I'm saying this in this video also. I've been saying it for years already. That's just the rules of the working with cryptos. I mean, not your keys, not your coins, but especially now, everyone is saying this in a very short period of time. So if that leads to potentially billions of dollars being withdrawn in the next couple of days or even less than that, then it can really put a lot of stress and pressure on existing exchanges. And we don't know if all exchanges are solvent. We don't know if crypto.com or KuCoin or any of the other big exchanges would actually be able to meet massive withdrawal requests, if they would be able to process that or not. So I would rather be safe than sorry. And again, in these kinds of situations, it really pays off to act quickly. Again, it doesn't cost you anything, maybe a little bit of fees, a little bit of time to take your money off those exchanges versus taking the risk that if something happens, you could potentially lose everything. So please, as a warning, be very, very careful and go and do that if you haven't done so yet. Okay, so let me walk you through the events, what is currently unfolding with FTX, what has happened so far in the last few days, and try and summarize that for you again with the updated version. This is, of course, still a developing story where every single hour there's more news coming out and more details being released. So it's too quick to keep up with everything. Be sure, if you want to stay updated, follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description down below. I also have a free Telegram channel for the public also, that's in the link down below if you want to get more regular updates on as it develops. So you can see over here on November 11th, FTX released this press release and they officially filed for bankruptcy with approximately 130 additional affiliated companies. It's absolutely insane. 130 affiliate companies called the FTX Group. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Okay, so that is now official. There's no more speculation about that. This actually happened. Then the crazy thing is that after they filed for bankruptcy, they allegedly got hacked. How crazy is that, okay? They file for bankruptcy and then afterwards, all of a sudden, a magical coincidence, they get hacked and hundreds of millions of dollars of the supposedly locked and bankrupt funds in the exchange start leaving the exchange. You can see over here, all funds seem to be gone. This was originally posted on the FTX official Telegram channel claiming the crypto exchange had been hacked. Now, some of those funds have been returned allegedly. Who knows what's going on? To me, this seems like way too much of a coincidence. First you declare bankruptcy and then you get hacked all of a sudden while, for years you weren't hacked. Like, okay, it just seems way too fishy. But anyway, that is what happened there. Now, as things are continuing to develop, Cointelegraph has reported that the 3 former FTX executives, as well as an Alameda Research CEO, Caroline Ellison, are looking for ways to flee to Dubai, which doesn't have any extradition treaties, likely in reference to the US. So now, apparently, they are on the run. This is absolutely crazy. This is like a movie, right? Like, you couldn't even imagine this. Like, if this was made into a movie before this happened, and it didn't actually happen, but it was made in a movie, everyone would be like, no way could that ever happen in real life. And that is like what we are seeing here. It's like too mind-blowing to even comprehend. Like, how can this actually be happening? It's insane. And then we have over here, okay, so it's now confirmed FTX owed $9 billion in liabilities while holding under $1 billion in assets prior to the bankruptcy filing. So they were completely underwater, completely insolvent, and the bank run on that exchange. So people going over to request their funds and withdraw it, that just basically revealed how bad it was. They couldn't meet their obligations and it was game over. So the problem now is that even though FTX is bankrupt and they filed for this bankruptcy, we don't know the extent of the damage, which extends beyond just customer funds that are now locked or potentially lost on FTX. It's also, there's a much wider range of contagion. How many funds were exposed to this? How many other projects have been exposed to it? What kind of loans have been taken out? What kind of collateral is there? And so on and so forth. And this is kind of stuff that is just going to be revealed over the coming days, weeks, and months, where eventually we're going to end up finding out how bad this collateral damage was of this FTX insolvency. And it could end up being a lot worse than most people think. Like I said, it extends beyond just FTX customers losing their own funds. It could be much bigger than that. So for example, now, what could still put more selling pressure on the markets is if anyone has lost major funds on FTX or that are stuck there now. We don't know what they're going to get back, if they ever get anything back from the bankruptcy. But you can see over here, for example, Galois Capital has $100 million stuck on FTX, which is 50% of their total holdings. That might potentially be gone forever. So now we have people like this, and probably there's going to be a lot of them, who might be in a position now where they have to decide, are they going to continue trading or holding with the remaining 50% of their funds, or are they in a position now where maybe legally they're obligated to liquidate the remaining 50% of their funds to be able to pay out their investors, their creditors, their debtors, whatever the case is, right? So as that continues, and remember, this has only been really unfolding for this last week. It's weekend right now as I'm making this. It's Sunday. So maybe some tough decisions will be made now over the weekend that perhaps on Monday or next week, people are going to choose to at least salvage what they still can and liquidate or sell their remaining positions, which could put a lot more pressure on the crypto markets, which could potentially cause another leg down into that final $14, $12, $10,000 BTC, maybe even a wick below $10,000. So we have to understand that is still a real potential at this point in time. Now again, just coming back to the exchanges, there's a lot of rumors circulating, even with crypto.com, saying, for example, over here, that crypto exchanges appear to be borrowing money from each other to fake snapshots of their reserves. And that's based on the tweet here from Chris, the CEO of crypto.com, who accidentally sent hundreds of millions of dollars of funds to a different address. Now, it's since been returned, apparently, but again, this kind of stuff is so suspicious, especially in this market environment. Which kind of CEO accidentally sends hundreds of millions of dollars to a wrong address? If that's unintentional, that is a massive mistake that should never ever happen with that size. And if it was intentional, who knows what's really going on there? Are they trying to make things appear different than what they seem? So that's why people are saying there's a lot of fear here right now saying get your funds off exchanges, because at least that way you still own the coins. We don't know how bad this fallout is. We don't know how bad the contagion is. We don't know which exchanges could potentially still be insolvent, especially if we get this bank run, which is seemingly in the process of being created, with literally more and more people every single minute talking about telling their followers, get your funds off exchanges. And of course, if that creates a withdrawal bank run of billions of dollars in the next 1, 2, 3 days, that could put serious stress on the remaining exchanges. And then we have to wait and see, is there further insolvency issues or not? Now, a few exchanges have come out and said that they have proof of reserves. Binance created a page with their proof of reserves. Kraken Exchange has said they've spoken with law enforcement regarding a handful of accounts owned by the bankrupt FTX group, Alameda Research, and their executives. Those accounts have been frozen to protect their creditors. Other Kraken clients are not affected, and Kraken maintains full reserves. So there's a couple of exchanges who've come out saying they have the full reserves. But again, in this situation, personally, I'd rather be safe than sorry, and basically not take anyone for their word saying that they have the proof of reserves, and actually just want to self-custody my coins, keep them in a wallet that I control, or even when it comes to fiat balances or stablecoin balances, just to be able to keep that either in a wallet that I control, or if I no longer need the funds immediately, maybe just withdraw it back to my bank account so that at least it's there, and that is completely part of the traditional financial system. So that is a quick update of where we stand in terms of the progress and the development of the whole FTX bankruptcy drama, saga, whatever you want to call it. And things are bad, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is bad, and the contagion is likely to be bad. And the fallout of it, the collateral damage, we're only going to know in the next days, weeks, or months, okay? So the likely scenario here is if we go back and look at the chart, okay? Again, like I've explained in the last video, the chart has been showing this technically for months already, that if we get a drawdown in the same way we get a bear market, the targets are likely going to be a similar drawdown to 2018, which with BTC's case, if we get it to like 84, 86%, is about this $12,000 to $14,000 level. Now the problem is, unfortunately, this is all happening with a lot of negative impacts for the space, like FTX blowing up and the contagion there, and that is going to create a lot of damage. But at the same time, that is also going to basically cleanse the whole marketplace. You know, there's a lot of places, even in nature, you regularly get these forest fires that completely burn everything down, and sometimes due to those fires there are special seeds under the ground that only come up after that fire. So it basically cleanses everything, and then new regrowth starts. Of course, fires are terrible and it causes a lot of damage, so I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it's part of the system, it's part of the market cycle. So in the same way, we had all this greed, all this garbage, all this unsustainable leverage in the system throughout the bull market over the last 2 years, and that is all in the process of being flushed out. And once that's flushed out, then we can start to rebuild. I still believe crypto is here to stay. Our path towards the future is more and more digital assets, digital identity, digital currencies, all that kind of stuff. So I believe the technology in the space is here to stay, but we're in the process of flushing out all the bad so that we can start to rebuild, and hopefully this time rebuild in a lot better ways, quality things, actual real projects that add value, and so on and so forth. So looking at the chart, technically what we can see over here is we have this breakdown of the support. Okay, and the more times it bounces on support, eventually we get the breakdown. We got rejected from the 3-day moving average over here, and that means we're pretty much in thin air here, because if you go back, you can see this on the chart. There's not much support between this level over here. Just waiting for this to load. My internet's a bit slow, but basically there's no support really between this level over here and this level over here. So either for some magical reason, we're going to go back and we're going to reclaim this, and it would start to potentially look more bullish. But as long as we're under here, and as long as we don't reclaim this 18.7 approximately, then the chance of further sell-offs, especially in light of everything that I just shared with you, what's happening in the space, all the fear, the panic, the potential further sellout from the contagion, you know, we could still see a continuation down to this $12,000 level, and maybe even a wick below it if things get really, really bad, as a final exhaustion. Now keep in mind, purely looking at the chart technically over here, we are starting to see a bullish divergence form. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to turn around right away, but it means that by the time we get to this point, right, if we get there, but assuming we get to that point, 14, 12, $10,000, $8,000, whatever it's going to end up being, we're going to have this divergence over here, meaning that the price is lower, but the RSI is not confirming it. And this is both on the 3-day chart and the weekly chart. So these are significant divergences because we also ended up seeing it in the reverse over here at the top. So you can see we made a higher high, but a lower high on the RSI. And what followed was a complete reversal of the trend and a massive, massive move in that down trend. So if we start to see this in the opposite direction, which is what we want to be seeing, in the same way here, we saw a mini bullish divergence over here, and we had a massive move to the upside. So once this move to the downside is complete, I do suspect, purely based on the chart, that that is likely going to be the bottom. And once that bottom formation is complete, we can probably start a move to the upside. But again, that is not going to happen probably anytime soon, in my opinion. If I had to guess, we're probably going to stay around this level beneath 20,000 probably for multiple months, maybe 3-6 months, maybe even more. Depends a little bit. In the same way that you can see over here, after the 2018 capitulation, we stayed in this space. You can see from December all the way until when we finally left it, until about May. So that was about a 6-month period that we stayed in this area, even though we did get that run to the upside. So, you know, maybe we see something similar. We see a drop to 14, 12, $10,000. We move sideways, and maybe in 6 months from now, so maybe about May of next year, June of next year, we can be back over there to that $20,000 level, and then hopefully maybe start a new move to the upside and a new bull market in the next, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years, something like that if cycles repeat. So for now, simply just looking at the chart, I do think it's very possible we do sell off further. We get to the support level over here. The level to watch for a potential more bullish scenario is, of course, 18.7 at this point, the level we broke down from. And then really what we need to see at the very least is just a reclaim, not a fake out, a reclaim of this 3-day 50 moving average. This was a fake out. This was a fake out. We need a proper reclaim before considering a more bullish scenario. But by the time that it gets here, like I said, the bullish RSI divergences are in place, and that is likely, based on this technical chart, to end up being a bottom that ends up being a high probability, unless, of course, you know, there's a black swan and crypto completely goes to zero, but that is something that I personally doubt. So let's see how things play out over the next days and week or two. And again, also just a bit of a final warning. One of the most important things to understand about these bear markets that happened in the previous bear market too is that a lot of these altcoins and shitcoins may not recover. They may go to zero, and they may never recover. So you want to be very careful which coins you buy, and of course which coins you are deciding to hold. And if you look at the last bear market, one of the best coins to hold was simply just Bitcoin. Okay, of course there were a handful of altcoins, Ethereum and others that you could have bought at the lows and held that would have done phenomenally well, but Bitcoin is still #1 by market cap. It has the highest security in terms of the network. It doesn't go down, so you can keep your Bitcoin in cold storage. And again, the Bitcoin was one of the first ones to really majorly recover in terms of percentage increase versus many altcoins that did not recover that quickly or that fast. So keep in mind, if you're considering Bitcoin or altcoins, just be very careful which altcoins you decide to hold and which altcoins you decide to purchase, because altcoins are a lot more like a tech startup. They have a company, they have a founder, they have expenses, all that kind of stuff. They need user adoption. And if they don't have any of those things, or it's just bad business, or they don't have the treasury, or they can't continue developing or anything like that, the project can die. And if the project dies, or the team leaves, or the founder quits, then the coin ends up dying most of the time. So be very careful with those coins, and subscribe to the channel to get these updates. Get on my Twitter, get on my free Telegram group. The links are in the description down below, because I'm providing like regular updates throughout the day as things are developing. That's completely free. And of course, if you want to be part of the VIP, if you want to be part of the Discord, where you get even more updates and full-time support and all that kind of stuff, second link in the description down below. I will keep you up to date as much as possible. So consider joining there. It's money back guarantee, so no risk. And that way you can stay on top of the developments as they happen. But like I said, subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer where I can. And please stay safe. Don't invest funds that you cannot afford to lose. And if you haven't done so at this point, get your coins off exchanges into a wallet that you fully control the keys to.